If you're anything like the 2/3 of Americans who get their news from social media, and sadly that isn't a joke, you've probably heard about the incident from last Friday involving students from Covington Catholic High School. What should have been a non-story about a somewhat passive-aggressive staring contest between man and boy quickly ballooned into a story on the racism-infused smugness of young white high schoolers in Trump's America, and then just as quickly into a story on social media outrage mobs jumping to conclusions. I mean, it's easy to find examples of racism when there are millions of social justice warriors actively searching online ready to act as judge, jury, and executioner. So the video clip that sparked the initial outrage showed a large group of mostly white male high school students, many wearing Make America Great Again hats, appearing to surround and taunt Nathan Phillips, a Native American activist who was beating a drum and singing a spiritual song. I think it says something about our current political climate when a 4-minute, out-of-context clip can mobilize a nation of adults to pile on teenagers with different political views under the guise of combating white supremacy. I mean, to many who saw the 4-minute clip, the evidence was in, and as with all societal ills in our modern age, the masses took to social media for vengeance. Nick Sandman, the student who stood face-to-face with Phillips, became the center of this debacle, and Sandman's smirk, coming from a Trump-supporting white teenager, was interpreted by many as confrontational and, came to represent subtle white supremacy in action. And some, like journalist Eric Abris, went so far as to wish death upon the boys. I mean, he was fired from INE Entertainment after he tweeted, "I just want these people to die, simple as that. Every single one of them and their parents." Yikes. The online vigilante movement was in full force. I mean, death threats were sent to the Covington students, some of the boys' names and addresses were shared online, and thousands more demanded their immediate expulsion. I mean, even their own school threw the kids under the bus. However, a longer video soon surfaced, lending more context to the confrontation, much to the chagrin of the internet hate mob. It turns out the high schoolers didn't surround Phillips. He approached them. And further, just prior to their encounter with Phillips, the students were called incest children, school shooters, members of the KKK, and other racial, homophobic, and bigoted slurs by a group of Black Hebrew Israelites known as the House of Israel. They are part of an organization which the SPLC identifies as a hate group. I mean, with tensions rising between the teens and the Black nationalists, Phillips says he stepped in to diffuse the situation. I mean, to me it appears as though neither Phillips nor the students really understood what was happening at the time, and the students, clearly emotional and, hyped up from their confrontation with the Black Israelites, likely had no idea who Phillips was or why he was even approaching them. And so they reacted by shouting, chanting, and in Nick Sandman's case, smirking in place. And Phillips, having stepped between the two groups in an effort to, stop what he thought were white teens harassing the Israelites, found himself at the center of a mob of young people whose energy was at a high, and so he felt intimidated and threatened as a result. I mean, if anyone is to blame for this whole debacle, it's the Black Israelites who, funny enough, have largely come away unscathed by the media or Twitter mobs. What this whole situation really shows us is how easily provoked, quick to act, and powerful internet hate mobs can be. I mean, in a time where the mainstream media regularly pushes the narrative of Trump's America being more racist than ever before, it's no surprise it only takes a 4-minute clip taken out of context for adults to pile on teenagers with different political views. I mean, this incident turned Sandman into the new, if temporary, face of racism in Trump's America. He will likely live with this incident attached to him for a good while, despite the longer video and fuller context which have emerged. The biggest takeaway from this, and maybe ironically based on who this lesson is for, is not to let stereotypes inform how we treat others. Left-leaning Twitter users and media wanted this story to be true because it fits their narrative of how a modern-day white male Trump supporter acts. I mean, even if the facts don't totally back them up. And this isn't to say that racist incidents don't happen in America. The Black nationalists, I guess, are a good example of that, but we shouldn't be so quick to jump to that conclusion based on paltry evidence we scroll past online. I mean, at the very least, when we do jump to conclusions, for God's sakes, we have to stop tweeting about it.